invest. Like have some portfolios. Nice. Okay. Did you see what happened in the market today? Your portfolio probably looked a little red. It was one of the worst days in the NASDAQ in history. Really, really bad day. So we are actually updating our slides about 2 hours ago with some of the stuff that's been going on. So we're going to talk a lot about that. But for starters, if there's anyone new, my name is Sanj Kumar. I'm the president of PPM. We founded this club last semester with some goals, and last semester was a fantastic semester. We had good turnout, a little better than today, but that's expected with the cold. I'm going to blame it on that. But I'm really looking forward to this semester. I think it's going to be a fantastic semester, and we have some really cool events planned out.
And I'm Max Chen, I'm the vice president. And this semester we really hope to have more events and get you guys more involved with our discussions every day. And hopefully we won't just be lecturing, and we'll be able to have everyone put a little bit of their own opinion and what they think about the market, so that way everyone can learn a little more.
Yeah, so last semester our mission statement was empowering tomorrow's leaders by investing in your future today. Now, I know a lot of clubs do mission statements. When we first created this club, we were looking at some others and we're like, oh, how can we make this really cool looking mission statement? This semester, we decided to take a little different approach. I want you guys to look forward to Mondays at 6 p.m., right? I want this to be a fun time. That's our mission. It's not any of this investing bullshit, it's just have fun. I know not many people look forward to a Monday evening or a Monday in general, but PPM is fun. That's the message we're trying to deliver. So what are our goals for this semester? I think we can sum it up in one goal. Last semester we had a bunch of goals with attendance and meetings, this, that. I think the one goal we have for this semester is we want to give everyone value from every meeting we have. I want you to get something out of this meeting, whether it's learning about investing, learning about what's going on in the market, how can you optimize your investing strategy. I want you to get some sort of value from this meeting, and if you don't think you are, I don't want you to come back here, because then you're just wasting your 6 to 7 p.m. on Monday, which is so precious and valuable. So let's talk a little bit about our timeline before we begin with the stuff going on. The first meeting is obviously a recap, all the stuff that's going on in the economy. I like to think PPM as a buffed economics club. It's just economics on steroids. We're talking what's going on day to day, what's going on in the economy, and then how can we apply that knowledge to stocks. On February 3rd, we're hosting a financial literacy seminar for all of athletics. So Max and I are student athletes on the men's tennis team. All these guys up here on the tennis team, Johnny, Aaron, I think that's all the student athletes here. But yeah, so we're hosting a financial literacy seminar for all the athletes on February 3rd. It's a pretty cool opportunity. They usually get Northwestern Mutual to host the financial literacy seminar, but this time they decided to take a leap of faith with PPM, so hopefully it's entertaining for them. On February 10th, we're bringing in Equifax. So is anyone here finance or CS major? I know Equifax hires a lot of interns from SLU in both finance and CS. I know that because I interned there last summer. So not only are they going to talk about best credit practices, if you're also looking for an internship, this is a fantastic networking opportunity. If you're not familiar with Mission Meets the Market Week, it's the week of Feb 23rd to 27th. So there's posters all across the B School with this keynote speaker. I believe his name is Tom Bozo. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. But we're hosting an event with the Finance Club on some social enterprises and best ESG practices in investing. Another event we have planned is developing your optimal investing strategy. So if you were here with PPM last semester, you probably know we talked a lot about fundamental analysis. We walked you through the 6-step guide of fundamental analysis and showed you a little bit in depth of each one of those steps. Now what if you don't want to do fundamental analysis? What if you just want to invest in ETFs? Or what if you want to invest in a company a friend told you about? We can talk a little bit about that optimal investing strategy. Besides just investing in ETFs or doing fundamental analysis, how can you develop your own optimal investing strategy? Are there any finance bros in the room? Have you heard of the Wall Street saying, don't fight the Fed? So there's a Wall Street saying, don't fight the Fed. It basically means you work with the Fed's monetary policy. They're doing that monetary policy recommendation for the betterment of the economy. So we don't want to fight that, we want to work with it. So we have a meeting about Don't Fight the Fed. On March 24th, we're bringing in the CEO of a boutique wealth management firm, Rising Tide Wealth Management. So if anyone's interested in a career in wealth management, this is a great chance to network. He's also going to be talking, I believe I told him about crypto, index funds, maybe Trump administration. I forgot. I gave him a couple topics to talk about. He's way more experienced than us. He's been doing this for 20 years. He has his own practice, so that'll be a fantastic opportunity. And then S&P, just index funds. How do you diversify your portfolio? Investing in individual equities. We're going to talk about that. And then crypto. Max loves crypto. We love fintech. Fintech is the future. I personally don't invest in crypto at the moment, but as I read about it more and more, I'm in a cryptocurrency class right now. I'm learning that this blockchain technology is the future. So it's really interesting to learn about it and just more than just what you see on the news, more than just the hype. We have a surprise meeting planned as the last meeting of the semester. We still don't know what the surprise is, but we'll figure that out. And then some things that are in the works. Is anyone here interested in a career in consulting? Okay. If you haven't done a case competition before, I highly recommend that. PPM is in the works of trying to host a case competition. So there'll be some prize money on the line, some employers. This is a fantastic opportunity to try to get an internship, try to win some prize money, and just showcase your skills. So we haven't officially decided that. It's still in the works. It could potentially be this semester or next semester, but we'll update you with some more news. And then we could potentially return to the SLU DPS for another financial literacy seminar. Okay, so one thing we want to do a little differently with PPM this semester is we want to make the market analysis a discussion. I don't want it to be fully lecture based, so I want some participation among you guys. All of you are probably aware of some stuff going on in the news, whether it's with the Trump administration or TikTok. There's a lot of stuff to cover, so I want to get your participation. Cool? All right. Anyone know what happened today in the stock market? Why did the tech stocks fall so much?
No idea. I knew it broke.
You just wanted to release it. I'm not calling you.
Oh! So China released an OpenAI model, or similar to that, called DeepSeek AI, which is really competitive compared to ChatGPT, and at like just $5.6 million in funding compared to OpenAI's like 50+ million.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's basically just a platform similar to OpenAI that's significantly cheaper and more efficient. Now everyone's raising questions. Since this is so much cheaper, is China so much more advanced in technology? What's the stake of NVIDIA? Do people still need to rely on all these chips and GPUs? Or can we have a more efficient model? So even though NVIDIA is not directly related to OpenAI, because they make the GPUs, NVIDIA took a huge hit. Same with Broadcom, just the overall tech stocks. So if you're not familiar with the stock market today, it was actually the biggest single loss by a company based on market cap in all of history. Anyone take a guess of how much money NVIDIA lost today?
600 billion?
Nice Google search, yeah. Okay. Yeah, NVIDIA lost $600 billion today. That's basically saying we killed Elon Musk twice. That's how much money was lost. That's an absurd amount of money they lost in just one day because of the introduction of DeepSeek AI. If you look over here, you can see DeepSeek compared to some OpenAI platforms. So here are some different metrics. This is, I believe, is math, coding, sciences, math, language, and then software engineering. If you look at this blue graph compared to the darker gray, you can see DeepSeek compared to OpenAI. Now it's either even or slightly below in every single category. And it's still slightly below in some categories, but when you look at the cost to train, $5.6 million compared to $100 million of OpenAI, it's insane how powerful it is. You can't even compare it. That's what caused such a huge crash in the market. If you look at here, you can see some more metrics on the price of the DeepSeek compared to O1. I don't know if you guys have actually used the platform before. It crashed today due to some cybersecurity hacks, but I have access to the platform, so if we click on the link, we can actually use it. Anyone want to compare DeepSeek to ChatGPT? Anyone have a question they want to ask both platforms?
I mean, like, I looked into it earlier and I questioned, like, what do you know about ChatGPT and, like, what are the different correlations? Just gave all the stats between the two companies and just said overall it's better than Chat, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so why don't you ask the question? It's interesting how this works. It's a little different from ChatGPT. You get to see the thought process of what the AI is. It's saying, okay, so the user is asking if I'm better than ChatGPT. It's listing out its thought process. ChatGPT doesn't do that. It just gives you the result. So it's pretty cool to see how it is. You get to see like the AI's thought process, which is beyond comprehensible. I just think it's fascinating.
Yeah, and that's also a key difference between ChatGPT and DeepSeek is that in the learning process, DeepSeek uses a lot more thinking and reasoning. Like it'll stop and hesitate to question itself and rethink about what it just said versus ChatGPT, which is more focused on trying to give you answers as fast as you can. So sometimes DeepSeek is a little slower, but overall it thinks a little more nuanced. So they still both have their own strengths, but that's just one of the features why DeepSeek is so special right now.
Yeah. So we can go back to the slides. So what are our thoughts on DeepSeek? The main thing is, with TikTok, we saw the US government and just US individuals don't want to give China access to our data. Now the same question comes into play with DeepSeek. DeepSeek is a Chinese company. Are organizations going to implement and trust this Chinese company with their data? Or are they going to continue using OpenAI or other platforms? That's a main question that investors are having. Are they actually going to implement this DeepSeek AI? And then another question you should ask yourself before you immediately go bearish on NVIDIA and other tech stocks is, are you still bullish on AI? Do you still think AI is the future, right? Because even though DeepSeek is more efficient, if it's more efficient, that means more users have access to AI. What does that mean? Demand is increasing. If demand is increasing, the demand for GPUs will also increase. So even though it's still more efficient, if the demand is increasing, then demand for companies like NVIDIA or Broadcom, their demand will still in turn increase.
Yeah, and also another thing to consider is that just because there's another competitor in the AI sector doesn't mean that OpenAI is all of a sudden going to fall from grace. When you have more competitors, and as we see more companies in the future probably develop their own AIs, it's very important to see how competitive the AI sector is going to be. Like, how are these companies going to push each other to grow and keep getting better and better, and so ultimately resulting in a better product and more demand for that product. Like, will OpenAI make their resources easier to use, cheaper to use in order to compete? And this kind of economics is something that will help develop the AI sector and make it a lot more competitive. So it's not just that, OpenAI used to have a monopoly in the sector, but now there's other competitors and they might be losing market share. But can these companies push each other to do better and have more of a positive influence on AI?
So if you've been to PPM before, you probably heard me say every market reaction is an overreaction. If there's ever any news in the market, there's a high chance that it's an overreaction, and then the next day or the next following days, the market rebalances itself. A lot of investors are saying this is a complete overreaction to the news of DeepSeek. So it'll be interesting to see how it is in the next couple days. Now let's talk about TikTok. Who here was devastated for like a couple hours TikTok was banned? Anyone instantly switched to Instagram Reels? I've always been on Instagram Reels, but I know Max here loves the TikTok algorithm. But I want to get your opinion. The TikTok ban happened on Saturday, so we didn't really get to see its implications on the stock market because it was unbanned on a Monday when the market opened. So do you think the TikTok ban could impact certain stocks? Anyone have any guesses or predictions of what could happen in the future?
Companies like Oracle could come and buy it.
Yeah.
Probably raise their.
Yeah, they're definitely talking about that.
People would like switch over to like Meta, I think Zuckerberg, he's trying to promote his Meta after the TikTok ban.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we are going to talk about right now. So if you look at the monthly active users from 2024, we see Facebook and Instagram, both owned by Meta, have 3 billion and 2 billion monthly active users, whereas TikTok has 1.6 billion, followed by Snapchat with 800 million. So while Meta still dominates the market share, TikTok still has 1.6 billion monthly active users. Now, if TikTok gets banned, the demand for social media and the scrolling, the short attention span will still be there. Just because TikTok is banned doesn't mean that demand goes away. So those users will likely shift to platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and because the users are shifting, so is the ad revenue. The companies that were advertising on TikTok are now going to advertise on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat. That's where most of these social media companies make their revenue. It's ad revenue. But just based on that, is it enough to say, okay, I'm going to buy Meta because I think TikTok will be banned in the future, or I'm going to buy Snapchat because I think in 75 days TikTok is going to be banned? You have to look at the fundamentals of the company. If the fundamentals are poor, yeah, they might get some more users and ad revenue, but if they're unprofitable, for example, Snapchat, everyone here probably has used Snapchat sometime in their life. Snapchat is actually an unprofitable company. They're losing money. If you look at their balance sheet, they're not making money. Fun fact. So even if the users switch to Snapchat, if their fundamentals are poor, maybe it's still not a good investment. That's a key thing we have to look at with every investment. How are the fundamentals?
Now, as somebody mentioned already, Oracle, Amazon, Microsoft. Now, the reason we chose these were because these three companies were all known for backing TikTok and helping in TikTok's development. And it's kind of hard to see from a distance, but basically, following the ban or leading up to the ban, there was a little bit of hesitancy and fear and a bit of a drop in the stock prices. However, because the ban was only 12-ish hours, when the markets opened back up, the next few days we saw a large increase in the prices of these stocks because people were glad that TikTok would be back, and then these companies would be helping to develop TikTok again and again. And now, something important to talk about is why was TikTok banned?
Yeah, so how many of you guys saw the TikTok versus Supreme Court case on Instagram or TikTok? How many of you all saw some of those funny clips? If you didn't see it, you can watch this video over here. It's quite amusing. Is it on?
Or can you at least tell me, if you turn on airplane mode on a plane, can TikTok talk to the plane, please?
Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I've served my nation in Singapore. No, I did not.
Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, Singapore, no.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, Singapore.
Look over here, please.
This
I've
is the
never
worst.
heard of a country called Singapore. Is it in Western Europe or mainland Europe? Because I certainly have never heard of Singapore.
TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network.
Only if the user turns on the Wi-Fi. I'm sorry, I may not understand that.
So if I have TikTok app on my phone and my phone
Mr. Chow, if I plug in my earphones into my phone while they're in my ear, can TikTok know what's going on in my brain?
I don't think that guy even knows what's going on in his brain. Trying to go full screen.
But yeah, as you can see, like a lot of the questions asked were kind of off topic and didn't really make sense. It's like, how is this a Supreme Court case? Like, is this really an important issue? But the thing is, there is a large security concern with TikTok, and that's because TikTok, like other social media apps, collects a lot of user data, and this data is used to improve its algorithm and recommend you those videos that you love. I know for a fact that when I scroll on Instagram Reels, the Reels just are not as funny or relatable as the TikToks I get on my page. And that's probably because TikTok will use your name, your age, your location, any messages you have on TikTok, purchases, and also biometrics. So if you post a video, it can analyze your face, parts of features of your background or other stuff to just collect information and build a user profile on what you might like to do or what you want to look at.
And it's kind of scary. Think about the kids that are significantly younger than us. They've been on these platforms since the day they were born. I mean, these companies know so much about them. Like, they can probably make a clone of these kids. It's that scary how much data they have. And that's not just, or Max can talk a little bit about this.
And yeah, it's not just TikTok. Other social media apps also do the same thing. So like Facebook and Instagram, both owned by Meta, they also collect a large amount of data to try to perfect that feed, that For You page. So that way you can get optimal time on the app and waste your life scrolling away.
Yeah, I actually heard WhatsApp collects the most user data. So any internationals always texting on WhatsApp, you should be a little concerned.
Yeah, but then that comes the question, like, why TikTok? Why is TikTok getting all the heat, and what about Facebook and Instagram? Well, the fact is that TikTok is the parent company of TikTok is ByteDance, which is a Chinese corporation, and Facebook, owned by Meta, is a U.S. corporation. Now, from the perspective of the U.S. government, having all this sensitive user data, especially with TikTok having over 170 million users in America, having all this information about Americans be so closely related to China, and because in the past China has tried to take information from companies, from Chinese companies, there's a large flight risk for this data from the perspective of the United States government. And the reason that Meta and Facebook doesn't really face that much flack is because the US can still have regulations and they can still pull some strings and try to keep the data within the US. But having this data so close to a large political rival is not something the US government wants to have.
Yeah, it's the same thing with DeepSeek, or it's just what America wants and what Trump's America wants. They want the US to be the powerhouse. They want more US jobs. They want less imports from other countries, more products made in-house. It's everything that America wants is keeping everything in-house. So even with a platform like DeepSeek, will we see companies actually implementing this because it's a Chinese company?
You assure me.
Oh.
Or can you?
Okay, so let's take a look at some of Trump's administrative projects since he became inaugurated into office. Are any of you guys familiar with the Stargate AI project? Has anyone heard about it? Johnny?
Yeah, so it's like a huge funding project to invest more into AI into the future. And I'm pretty sure Elon Musk was saying they don't have the money or something.
Yeah, so Elon Musk was actually against it, which is kind of ironic because he's backing up Trump. But basically, the Stargate AI project took companies like OpenAI, SoftBank, Oracle, and MGX. They pooled together about $100 billion to invest in invest in new AI infrastructure. So they estimate that they'll total $500 billion, but I believe only $100 billion has been invested so far. I say only very casually, $100 billion is a very big number. But Trump has basically backed this and endorsed this investment, and he's promising that this will create hundreds of thousands of American jobs and generate a massive economic benefit for the entire world. Now, with DeepSeek being introduced, investors are questioning, is this really justified spending hundreds of billions of dollars on AI infrastructure when China's doing it for significantly cheaper? Where is this money going towards? So that's a little bit of a current concern, but following the introduction of the Stargate AI project, companies like Oracle and NVIDIA actually shot up in price because the US government is endorsing spending hundreds of billions of dollars into basically their products. That's a good thing you want to hear as a company. Now another thing is tariffs. Trump hasn't, I believe he might have proposed a tariff on Colombia, but he plans to propose tariffs on China and Canada and Mexico. So he wants to put a 10% tariff on imports on China and 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico. What impact do you guys think this would have? Just posting tariffs on imports from those countries.
Relationships between the countries as well.
Yeah, relationships.
Customers seeing like increased prices on product in different countries.
Yep, customers seeing increased prices. Any positive impacts?
Companies gonna wanna make more things in America itself.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the main goals with Trump introducing these tariffs. He wants to increase production and create jobs in the United States. So while it may impact the relationship with those countries, we already have a very sour relationship with China, it could create thousands or hundreds of thousands of jobs in the United States. Now, one thing to consider is in the past, in Trump's previous administration, he actually imposed a tariff on China on imports. And the result of that started a trade war. China actually retaliated by introducing a tariff on US imports. So it was the same thing. So now US is exporting less to China, making less money. Could something similar happen with Canada and Mexico? If we're charging a tariff on Canadian and Mexican imports, couldn't they do the same thing for us? And if you look here, Mexico, China, Canada, they're some of the top trading partners of the US in 2024. So it could have positive potential effects from this. It could have very poor and sour consequences. So hopefully the economists thought through this very well.
Yeah, and another thing you might have heard with Trump's inauguration is Trump coin.
Anyone
And-
anyone buy Trump coin in the past week? No one here bought it? I did not either.
Yeah, but in the past, Trump has stated that he is trying to be more involved in the crypto industry and is hoping to make crypto a little more widespread. But with his announcement, as you can see his tweet, of his Trump meme coin, a lot of investors in Bitcoins and crypto experts are beginning to doubt his actual belief in crypto. Now, as you can see, this is a graph of the Trump coin price. So this all happened within the span of like 2 days, right? So 2 days before his inauguration, January 20th, the coin was released at about $7, and very quickly it shot up to nearly $70, 10xing from its initial coin offering. But then, as you can see, after the following days, it cooled off significantly, and anyone still holding on to their Trump coins probably lost a lot of money. Now, why is this why is this bad? Well, 8% of the Trump coin was owned by 2 companies, CIC Digital and Fight LLC. Now, these companies are not directly owned by Donald Trump, but they're his affiliate companies. So they pretty much work with his company to do certain things, but because they aren't directly supervised by him, he probably won't take any responsibility or liability for any loss of profit through this coin. But that brings up the question, how ethical is it for your president to create crypto coins and basically scams? Like, this was very clearly a pump and dump, and is someone that is the president of the United States with that much responsibility, that much influence over people, like, is it okay for him to just be creating coins like thin air? And like, is he deceiving the public by posting something like that on Twitter? And while there was like a disclaimer saying, oh, this isn't backed by Trump, or there is no direct tie with his election, people are gonna see it and see Donald Trump post it, and it is the real Donald Trump. So like, shouldn't I be able to trust it? Like, why wouldn't I trust what my president says? And so, that puts a lot of doubt into investors' minds, and especially people interested in crypto, because it makes crypto feel like just a joke, just another meme coin, and that it's never going to be taken seriously enough to be implemented throughout the economy.
Yeah, so the main thing with this, or any investment, that we're going to keep reiterating throughout this whole semester, when you're putting money into something, put money into something you've researched. If you don't know anything about it, you're just buying the hype, there's a good chance you bought the hype right here. And there's a good chance that you held the hype thinking it would come back, and now you're right here. Lost a lot of money. It's very hard to buy it on the way up. Crypto trades 24/7. This could have been happening when you were sleeping. So it's really hard to get up, get into it at the very start. So just the main thing is do your own research. Don't buy GameStop just because you heard Roy Katie made a new tweet. Or don't buy a stock just because your friend told you about it. Do your own research, unless you have so much faith in that friend, which I would not recommend, even if it's one of us. Don't buy something just because someone recommends it to you. Do your own research, become confident in your own decision. If it doesn't hit, you'll learn from it. That's life. Okay, any big techie here? Anyone in CS? Anyone built their own computer before?
Well, I built it.
Yeah. If you're a big techie, if you like tech, this Consumer Electronics Show may fascinate you. Has anyone heard of the Consumer Electronics Show? Okay, so if you don't know what it is, basically it was a tech show from January 7th through 10th, 2025. So it just happened about 2 weeks ago. They showcase a lot of technological advancements. In this show, there are 4,500 exhibitors and over 140,000 people in attendance in Las Vegas. Some of the main highlights was NVIDIA showcasing their Blackwell and GeForce RTX 50 series GPUs. If that sounds like a bunch of random made-up words to you, you probably haven't built a computer before. But if you look at some of the fastest gaming computers or AI computers, they're all using NVIDIA's GPUs. Anyone here like to play video games a lot? Yeah. If you play video games on a PC, there's a good chance you either have an AMD Ryzen or NVIDIA GeForce GPU. Now, one of the main things about this CES show was NVIDIA released the GeForce 50 series. So if you look here, they have the RTX 5090, RTX 5080, 5070, 5070, or 5070 Ti, 5070. Now these prices seem relatively high, $549, $749, up to $2,000. Now this is a newer model compared to their old model, the 4070 and I believe 4090. If you look at the older model, it was priced at about $1,600 for a GPU. Now this new 50 series, the 5070, priced at $550, operates at the same efficiency and speed as the 40 series, and it's 1/3 of the price. How? That is a question I wish I knew, but I do not work at NVIDIA. But they're just advancing their chip technology a lot. They fit a tiny chip that's like this big into that huge GPU, which is basically just fans and a chip with extremely advanced technology that helps with more efficiency and more speed.
Basically, like they were able to use AI, and they're putting more parts related to AI in their chip. So before there was less, but now they're able to squeeze a lot more AI related tech components into the chip. That way, it'll be able to function more and use more AI related hardware or software.
It's pretty cool. It's like a cycle. So these GPUs are used to make these AI platforms. Now they're using AI to help make the chips in the GPUs. So it's like a full cycle. But if you go back, one of the things you'll notice is that NVIDIA actually fell 6% following the CES show. Now you may be wondering, they released these super cool 50 series RTX. Why did their stock fall? They're so cheap, everyone wants to get them. I want to build a computer just to test these out. Why did the stock fall? It's mainly because Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, a $3 trillion company, released some unclear expectations about the future of the company. Now, when your company is $3 trillion, almost every investor has some stake in NVIDIA. Every investor is looking to NVIDIA. They want to constantly hear good news. They want to constantly hear news about the company updating and evolving. He gave some vague responses. He said quantum computing was 20 years away. Quantum computing stocks crashed. Johnny probably knows about that. And investors didn't really react to it very well. So NVIDIA saw a 6% decline. Now, the stock immediately recovered following the Stargate project, and then sadly today it crashed again, losing $600 billion because of the Chinese companies. Okay, any questions from the market discussion part? A lot of stuff is going on in the economy.
Do you think with like Nvidia falling so hard today, do you think it's good to buy it? Because you think, like you said earlier, like every change in the market's like an overreaction. So
Yeah, so I'm not allowed to give personal recommendations, but what I would say is look at the fundamentals, look at the demand. Is the demand for GPUs still strong? If you can answer that confidently, yes, then you know GPUs are still in high demand. Now, are the fundamentals of NVIDIA good? Sure, they're a little overvalued, the PE ratio is high, but the demand is so high, they're constantly growing, constantly evolving. AI is the future. Does the valuation really make a difference? So if you can see the fundamentals of the company are good, and the demand for AI is still there, maybe it's a suitable investment for you. But I wouldn't just get in because you think it's an overreaction. You have to be confident the company is growing, the products are still vital, and the fundamentals are good before you make an investment.
And that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about here. These are our rough predictions for what we think is going to happen in 2025 for the stock market.
Yeah. Who was here in September when we made our interest rate or federal funds rate meeting? Anyone? Yeah, a couple of you guys were here. So if you don't remember, the federal funds rate is the rate banks charge for short-term loans. You can see this on mortgages, federal loans, student loans. Any of you guys have a high-yield savings account, you probably noticed that the yield that you're getting has been slowly declining over the past couple months. This is due to the federal funds rate being cut. Now the Fed has two goals. It's called the dual mandate. They want to have maximum employment and price stability. So they want the maximum number of people employed, and they don't want the price to fluctuate too much. If you see here, we have an inflation target of 2%. The Fed wants to meet that inflation target of 2%. Now, inflation has been slowly rising. I believe now it's at like 2.9%, and the Fed is slowly easing off of cutting rates. So in that meeting, in September, we predicted the Fed was going to cut rates 4 times this year. Because inflation is rising from the lower interest rates, the Fed is likely not going to cut rates on the meeting on Wednesday. So there's an FOMC meeting on Wednesday, probably around 1 p.m. You guys should tune in and listen to Jerome Powell. He's always speaking out about the economy. But we're predicting, most investors are predicting that the Fed won't cut the interest rates in January. So if we look back to a little timeline, in August of 2024, the rates were 5.25 to 5.5. They weren't cut for 4 years since 2020. Then in September 2024, the rates were cut by 50 basis points at 4.75 to 5. That's when we had the PPM meeting to discuss that. November, we saw another 25 basis point cut. December, we saw a 25 basis point cut. And this is where we are right now. So the current rates are 4.25 to 4.5. Now, we're predicting a 25 basis point cut in March, and then a 25 basis point cut in September. So 2 rate cuts this semester, or this year. And then that's going to close 2025. The Fed is hoping to get at a range of 3.9 by the end of 2025 and 3.4 by the end of 2026. Now that's definitely subject to change, like it did this year, but we'll see what happens in Wednesday's FOMC meeting. So what are our sector predictions? If you guys know me, you guys know I love technology. I'm bullish on technology. Technology is the future. With anything. With crypto, it's the blockchain technology. With AI, with NVIDIA, everything is surrounded by technology. Technology is everything. I don't know why I'm not pursuing a career in tech. But if you look, for example, the Stargate project, we saw the government, all these big tech companies investing $500 billion into AI infrastructure. That's a very, very bullish sign for the technology sector. Now I know it fell a lot today because of the DeepSeek AI, but I'm still bullish on technology. I think AI and machine learning is the future, so we're predicting some positive gains. Now one thing I want you to notice is don't take our advice. Just because I'm bullish on technology doesn't mean you're bullish on technology, right? Maybe you're bullish on financials or energy or some other sector. Don't just listen to me. I have my own personal opinions. I like technology. I like AI. I've done some research into it. I think that technology is fascinating. It's constantly growing and evolving. The demand is super high. Companies are spending hundreds of billions of dollars investing in their own AI. If you look at any company's balance sheet, most of their or income statement, most of their expenses are investing in technology. If you look at Google, Microsoft, they're investing in AI. So I'm extremely bullish on that. Or if you see the energy sector, clean energy is all anyone's talking about. I know even in the business school, they're talking about implementing more recycling bins and all this stuff. Everyone wants a cleaner environment. Clean energy is a hot topic right now. Electric car companies, First Solar, these are definitely some prominent clean energy companies. And then ESG metrics. Everywhere you're going, you're seeing ESG metrics. They now have green bonds that I actually learned about in my class the other day. ESG is definitely a growing concern for all investors and just all humans in general. So we're predicting some positive gains in that. And then cybersecurity. You guys remember what happened last summer with CrowdStrike? CrowdStrike servers went down, every single person saw the blue screen of death, the airports were closed, it was a complete disaster. This world is dependent on cybersecurity. Even the DeepSeek AI, their servers were down because of malicious attacks today. So it became so popular today, and a cyber attack came, and their servers went down. So cybersecurity is crucial for all companies. As your technology becomes more advanced, as your code becomes more advanced, you need to protect that user data, right? You got Facebook tracking you since you were 2 years old with all your data. They need to protect that data. If your data gets leaked, Facebook is cooked. Or those banks with their social security, they need to invest in some real cybersecurity to protect all that data. So Palo Alto Networks, CrowdStrike, Fortinet, these are some of the top cybersecurity stocks, and I'm very bullish on cybersecurity.
Yeah, and one of the last sectors that we are bullish on is crypto. Now with Trump saying that he's going to support crypto, and also just the development of all these other sectors. I mean, cybersecurity, technology, these are all sectors that back up crypto. Like, crypto is based in a lot of technology, and it also requires a heavy amount of cybersecurity. So when you see these industries rise, crypto will also rise just because it's related to them. And something to look out for is the US SDR, or the United States Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. And what this is the government, it's not a thing right now, but it's in the works. And what it would be is, it would be the government holding a certain amount of Bitcoin in their reserves as basically a sort of bet against the economy, right? So in case something goes bad, they still have a reserve of Bitcoin and they can still use that. But that means that Bitcoin is going to be regulated, and crypto is going to be officially trusted by the government because they're holding some of it for their own. And so that would definitely boost crypto, and it would definitely improve the perception of crypto, and we'll see whether or not that happens. And some other stuff to look out for is obviously AI. With the advancement of AI, blockchain and these technologies will definitely improve and in turn boost the crypto sector. But also things like stablecoin, and what that basically is something related to is a cryptocurrency that's related to a real money. So instead of being backed by like Dogecoin or Trump coin, this is backed by say maybe US dollars or Canadian or euros or something like that. Yes, John?
Yeah, so I have a question, like, what is your opinion on crypto ETFs? Like, would you say it's like equivalent to like S&P 500 or like stock ETFs or?
I think I wouldn't say that they're the same as the S&P 500 because obviously it's not as diversified. Like technically it's still an ETF. It's diversified in the crypto world, but the crypto world is just one sector. Like if I had like the QQ, like Nasdaq is like a group of is a bundle of companies, but at the end of the day, it still represents one single sector. So if that sector were to fall, were to fail, then the ETFs would all come down together because they're all connected, and there's nothing separating them and stopping. There's nothing stopping the whole market of crypto from crashing at once.
Yeah, it's something that I'm learning a little more. I'm still extremely unfamiliar with crypto, but as I'm learning a little more about the blockchain technologies, they all have different blockchain technologies, which is fascinating to me. Some of them are built on Solana, Ethereum. So I think you really have to learn like what is this blockchain technology and how could it actually grow towards more technologically advanced. Like even Web3, I was learning about that in my class today. I still have no idea what it means, but it looks fascinating and it looks like something that could be the future. So actually learning how do these cryptocurrencies operate versus just is the price going up, is the price going down, oh the price is low, maybe I should get in. No, it's more about how do these cryptocurrencies operate, how does the blockchain work. I think that's something that I'm starting to look into and I'm starting to feel more bullish on crypto because of that.
And another thing that you might notice is that all of these almost contradict each other because with crypto, with tech, a lot of ChatGPT for example, it uses some amount of water for every single prompt you put into it, and uses electricity, it uses a lot of energy, and so it's kind of the opposite of the energy sector, right? The goal is clean energy, having less energy consumption, but the reason that we have all these together is because a part of investing is for the future instead of looking at what's going on right now. If you look at what's going on right now, yes, there's a lot of pollution, there's a lot of energy being wasted, and all these concerns with technological developments. But if we look in the future and we envision what that might look like, we want to see a world where technology is very advanced and can run on clean energy and won't be polluting the earth anymore. And when these work in harmony, the future looks very promising and bright.
Yeah, it's just the concept of investing. You're not investing for right now, you're investing for returns in the future. So whatever company you think is taking steps or advancing their technology or advancing their products for the future, that's a company you want to invest in because that's a company you'll see the best returns. But with that being said, that wraps up the content we have. Do you guys have any questions? If not, I hope you guys got some value out of this and start looking forward to the Mondays at 6 p.m. Alright. Oh.
This is for me personally. I might be a bit late. It's like I think I'm like in another club, like youth flourishing leadership academy. It's like runs from 5 to 6. So
Yeah.
it's in the BSC. So
No, you can't go there.
What?
You can't go there. Only PPM.
What?
I'm just yeah, it's fine, it's fine.